Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 4, Episode 15 of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. You can see I've played ahead almost a year, and I just went out and played a little bit. And let me show you what I've been up to and what has happened. I forget if our steel mill was done. I think the last episode we rejoiced in having a steel mill. We now have a steel mill that's actually up and running, and we're getting decent workers in there. We didn't really build this up enough to try to have this at a full production. I wasn't really thinking of it as a money crop, if you will. I was thinking of it as let's get some steel for our construction. But, you know, I've gone back to playing kind of my way, and that means I've been auto building some of the stuff. And so our rail construction worked for a while and had its issues, was slower than molasses. Finally got up to here and quit. And, of course, I queued that up, got that built, that fueling station built by our construction crew, which is actually doing all right now. We got that built, but then the rail didn't seem to want to go past that. I don't know, maybe you guys who've done this more, will it even go past that? I don't know. I decided I didn't care. I built the rest of these auto build because I wanted to get on with it, and built the connection up here because I wanted to, I had 150 steel, which is all the mill can hold, in the export, and I wanted to get it, I wanted to export it, frankly. So I built a track this way to hook into our nice little roundabout up here, and we are now exporting steel on rare occasion. It's a big train. It takes it a long time to fill up, but when it does, it's worth it. It hauls in some pretty good rubles. So had an interesting problem right here. You know, I've got this set up with the trains coming in from both directions, and sure enough, started having trains coming out of here and facing each other. And I have to confess, I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that. The way the blocks are defined, it seems to me that would not happen, but it does. So I said, all right, fine. And I cut this side off so that trains coming to the steel mill and back only come in this platform, and our trains going over here to our medical university area only come in on the other platform. And that's actually just fine because, as I explained in an earlier video, we want these trains coming in on a regular frequency, not necessarily piling in there together. So that works out just fine. And I was actually able to cut this down from 4 trains to 3. I think I have 3, or did I just delete a couple? I'm supposed to be running 3 trains on here. I may have just fixed this and didn't put a train back. Let me see how many I've got. Oh, there it is. There it is. I couldn't see it. Okay, yeah. I'm running 3 trains back and forth, and that works out just fine. This one will get down here quickly enough to get in right behind that one, and we get a good steady flow of workers up here. I actually had to sit down at 50, turned it all the way up because it does seem to matter. The potential for the work does seem to matter in terms of how many people go to the platform in order to, you know, potentially go up to the steel mill. What else? I've turned off the staffing here and basically quit using this. Don't know when I'll use it again, honestly. What else we got going on? What else did I do? All right, so now having gotten this finished, now let's go up here and see what else we've been up to. So we had this set up, but you'll notice now we have this cargo station and these 2 silos. Well, that's because we now have a working farm out here that is producing crops, loading them into a train here at this warehouse. So crops come in here, go to the silo, the train pulls them from the silo into the warehouse and into itself, so to speak, and our train is loading up with crops. And then those crops will go down our track here and connect into our main line like so. Then it goes up here and comes in and unloads at this platform, distributes equally between these 2 silos, and then our distillery and food factory can start pulling crops and we don't have to import as many. So one little warning I'll give you here. If you do this, when I first set this up, I gotta get a pie enough to get rid of that noise. When I first set this up, I had the imports coming into the factories. Once you get the silos starting to fill, you want to turn the imports off on your factories and import here. So I do import crops into each of these storage facilities. See, this one's got a little bit extra, 101. That's because the train came in and the distillery hasn't used all the crops yet. So you can see here, 68 is what I've got it set to import. So this one's going to stay at a steady 68 for the food. This one will eat into the crops we brought from the field till it gets to 68, and then it'll stay at 68. That way both of these can keep going, and then we're loading crops in here from the field, of course. And over time, if we get ahead of it enough, we'll cut down, maybe even eliminate our crop imports. And what I've got here, I've had, as I said, I had this one big farm, but I also added just last month a second farm. So this second farm has just started planting, sowing and what have you. You'll also notice overlap. I've got these two farms. I'm not sure if I want to change this or not, but the farms are so close together. I was originally intending to have a second warehouse set up like this, and the train would just alternate between the two farms. But because they're so close, I decided instead I'm going to run trucks. So we're going to have trucks pick up whenever this starts getting grain. We will have the trucks. I've already got them queued up and ready. Well, trucks will load up here and unload into this silo, which will then, of course, make them available to the train to take to our food factory and our distillery. So I followed Don Maggio's tests, set up this first farm with 13 big fields, as close as I could, surrounding the farm. And by the way, I'm just going to go on record. I despise terraforming, and I don't care for it in this game particularly. I think it's very clumsy, very hard to use. And I know some of you love terraforming. I mean, you actually enjoy it. God love you. Have a good time at it. I hate it. So I really built these fields based on where could I put fields without any terraforming. And where I'm going with that is we would ideally have this beautiful big flat spot, and we'd have 13 big fields right around this. I did the best I could. I got 13 big ones here. And then the second farm I set up, I couldn't fit 13 big fields in there. So I did what I could. I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put 9, 10. I put 10 big fields, and then I went into our farming size calculator and said, okay, well, if I only have 10 big fields, what do I have to do to how many medium fields do I need to attach to make up for it? And it was 6. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medium fields in there because they're pretty easy to fit. And now this one, in terms of hectares, is very similar to this one. In fact, the two farms overlap. They could work fields together. I don't care. Just get them done. Just keep them busy. Keep all your vehicles busy. And the other thing, if you missed what Don Maggio pointed out to us in another video, the mix that seems to work best is 3 tractors for the sowing, 4 harvesters, and you'll notice I'm running the Western Matador, which is a better harvester than anything we can get in the East, and 5 covered hulls. So I've got the T138 covered, bringing the crops in. So again, 3 tractors for sowing, 4 harvesters, and 5 covered hulls seems to be the best most efficient mix. So this farm's working great. This farm's just getting started. Hopefully we'll really increase the flow and keep this train moving so that it will keep crops in there for our food and alcohol industries, and we can make money exporting. And of course, I have trucks running. From one truck goes to the distillery and takes alcohol to this pub. The other truck goes to, I think it actually goes to this warehouse. Actually, I take that back. I used to have a road to the distillery. Now the truck goes to the warehouse, grabs alcohol, brings it back here to the pub. There you can see it unloading. It just keeps unloading forever, so you can see until it's empty, and then it goes back and gets some more. So we've got plenty of alcohol for our bar. And this food shop, it's food run. Let's see, related vehicles. This guy, where is he? He's on his way over to the food factory to get another load. And I think that reminds me of something else I need to do. All right, so so go back over here. The other thing, started getting some escapes, and the reason was, I had said earlier, we're going to outgrow that small shopping center with this area. Sure enough, we did, and we were starting to get lines out front, even though I had max sellers. So I added another shopping center down here to offset some of that load. Now we're back in business, but what I remembered is I do need another truck. I've still got this bus just hanging out there. Still need another covered hull truck. And we're going to have that one. It can go, we'll have it go to the warehouse and come over here, and it's going to load food. Whoops. So when it's full and fully unload at that new grocery store we have. All right, so now we're feeding the people here, and we're giving them alcohol. We're also feeding the people way down there in our other big city. Well, none of the cities are big, our other town. So, because here's what happens with that. If we look at this and look at related vehicles, we've got a SU-45 right here. Now this train is set to go to this warehouse, load up on food or alcohol, then it goes down here. It goes down here to this warehouse and unloads. And what it unloads is it just tops off. It unloads as much as it can into this warehouse, and I've got limits set on the warehouse. So it's topping off the warehouse with alcohol and food. All right, and then it goes down here, takes our nice little roundabout, goes back up to Molna and exports whatever's left over. So we feed our people, give them drink, and then export the overage. And we've got our truck set up now. We've got one truck over here that has a run that says go to this warehouse, grab food, take it over here, and then that loads food, see here, into our shopping center. And we have a second truck right there. That truck is going to the warehouse, grabbing alcohol. I don't know what does that mean? What are those? You don't need plastics. Okay. It grabs alcohol and it goes over to the pub and unloads, and it stays there until it's empty. So you can see it's got 3.3 ton. That's because the pub is completely full of alcohol. This truck stays there and keeps emptying until it's done, till it's empty, and then it goes over here and gets some more. So in that way, we keep this thing stocked up with alcohol and food, and we keep this stocked up with food, and this pub stocked up with alcohol. So everybody's getting their food and drink from our food factory and our distillery. And we'll continue that process as we go along. Now, the other thing we're going to do, now that we've built this, I'm running it on risk mode right now. We need a little town here to supply fire coverage for this. I do not want to get in the mode of having these things burned down and then replace them. Could do that, of course I could. But I decided, we decided when we started this, we're going to have fire coverage for everything. So I'm going to put a little town here or here, probably right here. I was actually thinking, see this area here looks tempting for farming, but it's surprisingly not great. So I just put my farms in where I could. I think a little village right here for fire coverage will do a great job of covering these 2 farms. And then we can set up another little industry here. We've already got the track. We could set up, in fact, this would be a great place to do like some logging and board creation. And boards, we could use them in construction management if we were so inclined. We could export them. The board is, honestly, if you don't import wood, as long as you get your own wood, the board, one little sawmill is a gold mine. So I think we'll probably do that. We'll build a city right here, a little town, and do the fire coverage. You'll have a small hospital, whatever. No university here, but everything else. And that way these people stay happy. We'll have fire coverage. We'll have another industry, our boards. And when the people who want to go to university, what we'll do, we've got down here at our medical school, we have a hall of residence. So we'll just take people from up there in the small farm town and move them to the big city, and they can go to medical school, and then they should move back to where they came from, which will be up there at the small town. And that way we can keep our high education. So, because if we check in on how we're doing, we've got happy people, we've got a ton of educated people, we're doing great on our education. You'll notice our numbers here. We did not have 30,000 births. I put the city hall back in. It's like I never learned. I put the city hall back in up here because I had some escapes and I wanted to see where they were coming from. But of course, it doesn't really tell me anything. I don't know. Those numbers are just crap. So that was a mistake putting that back in there, of course. But anyway, what else did I do here? Added some people to get more people here, added another kindergarten, and added a couple of playgrounds to make sure these people had the opportunity to go play some football. And other than that, I think that's about it. I think that's what I've been up to. It's going pretty well. Our money's accumulating just fine. We're growing. I want to get back targeting the goals we set for this playthrough. And that being said, I need to speed up. So the next thing to put in will be clothing. So what I'm going to do with that, I think I'd like to do another little plug and play over here. We've got the critical mass. We've got what we need. Let's see, walking distance. Okay, from here, if we direct people to this new shopping center, they can walk to the hospital, they can walk to the cinema, they can't walk to the pub. We may want another pub. We could even run a bus line that just goes. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I think here's what I want to do. I want to treat this almost like another downtown, but not quite. But what we're going to do here is have a bus stop here. And I'm going to have a passenger-only bus line that goes from here to here. And that way, if people come in here and they go here to get food, clothing, and shopping, and they want to go to the pub to have a drink, we're not even close to tapping out that pub. There's no point in putting another pub down here when we can just take advantage of the one we have. So we'll have a little bus line that runs a couple buses this way. And then we'll set up another community out here near the university. And by another community, I mean just a few more flats that we add in here. Maybe another school, and maybe even another kindergarten, and a playground or two. So that, in other words, another little module that we'll add into our system. And I think we'll connect it up. We'll connect it up by rail, tie into this line, and have trains running over in here to our clothing industry. So the workers will go by train to go to the clothing, and when they're on free time, they will go by bus down here, and some of them may even be able to walk over here, which is fine. If they walk over here, they'll take the train over here to have their shopping and all the downtown activities. And those who don't walk over here will take the bus. That'll probably be most of them. they'll take a bus. I think we'll even build a little bridge so we don't slow this down. We'll build a bridge and have a road going over here to a bus stop downtown, so to speak, our new extended downtown, and the bus running that way as well, and that should work. So why don't we just go ahead and set that up. Let's see what it's going to take to make that happen. Oh, and by the way, here's the farm thing I did. Remember I said, our perfect deal that we strive for is 13 big fields. But that one, I could only get 10. So then I said, okay, well, I can probably squeeze in mediums. How many do I need? And I needed at least 6 of them to get back up into an area close to the size of the ideal. All right, so that was the farm planning. So let's go back to our planner now, and let's talk about, and there you can see how profitable boards can be. I was looking ahead a little bit to our new town down there near the crops. But let's do clothes. Clothes can be very profitable, but don't let them fool you. I think a lot of people think clothes are a lot better than they really are because they make you great money, but they're very slow production. So what happens is you think you're making a ton of money because you'll send a train off and sell 1 million rubles worth of clothes, and you're going, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, that $1 million of clothes might have taken you a year to make. So, grain of salt. All right, so if we wanted to set up clothing, let's see, fabric. Now, if we did, now this is a little bit deceptive, the way the spreadsheet works. It thinks we are exporting fabric. So we would not be exporting fabric. We would be using the fabric to support the production of the clothes. And one fabric will produce enough to do a close, and we need a little bit of chemicals. So what could we do with chemicals? If we set up a chemical, it would create enough to match exactly the need of the fabric. So 2 clothes, 1 fabric, 1 chemical is the right combo to get you ultimately to clothes that you want to export. And if we did all of those, that's a pretty big undertaking. Now we would need another kindergarten. We would don't need another cinema or fire station or hospital. We would want another school, no shopping, no universities. Okay, actually that looks pretty good. We would need about 8 flats to do that, targeting 80% efficiency. Let's see here. Let me think about this. If we just do it in phases, if we just do the clothes first, import the fabrics, you can see our it's not going to make huge money, that's for sure. But as I said, clothes are deceptive. They're not huge money makers. But we would need 5 flats to start with, 8 if we wanted to go all out. Let's just set up the clothes and build the framework of the factories to allow the fabric and the chemicals to easily be added in, and just build out the clothes first and start with that. So let's see how that works. 5 flats. Okay. I said I wanted a bridge, didn't I? Let's see here. Okay, I'm not talking because I'm speechless. I'm not. Bridges and I don't get along well, but that will work. It's not pretty. It's got a bend in it. Other than that, other than the fact that it looks ugly and has an unnecessary bend and was clumsy to build, it's beautiful. It's marginally better, not much. Kind of the same, isn't it? Maybe a little bit. This falls strongly under the category of who cares. All right. Now this next little bit is just setting up a block like we've done many times before. We're going to set up 5 flats. We're going to make sure that they can walk to a kindergarten, a school, the train station to go to work, and the bus station to go downtown to get their needs met. Okay, that gives us the supply side of our factory. Now we need the demand side. All right, what I want to do, now here you can see I did use that technique. But what I want to do now is actually take these wires and put them back here because I want this space right in here to be our clothing factory setup. Make sure I have, okay, we've got enough money to redo this. And I'm not going to mention this again, but look at this. This is why I think there's nothing wrong with that technique, because if I just wanted to crisscross this road, I could get that net effect all the way up through there. All right, enough. All right, go. Okay, that wire has been restrung. Now I have a feeling this wire is going to end up going down as well. It's actually supplying this guy out here. The fuel reloading station. But these things take up way, no matter how, it seems like no matter how much space you think you need twice as much. All right, various industries, clothing. Now we could try, no, too much trouble, but we could run a silo off of here, over here, off of, off this side of this, we could run 2 silos and feed our clothing. Actually, it's weird. Clothing needs, no, they don't. The fabric needs crops. So we could put like fabric here and run, nah, I'm not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna produce enough crops to cover all our industry anyway. It's just not gonna happen. All right, so let's see if we can tuck this back in here somewhere. All right, if we put 2 clothing factories like this, connect them to a warehouse like this, have fabric on the other side, now these warehouses are completely passive. They will not cause anything to happen. However, our fabric, if it produces, as the shop produces fabric, it will store the fabric in the warehouse. And if there's fabric in the warehouse, our clothing factories will pull from fabric from the warehouse, provided they're not importing fabric, but we have our imports set up on the warehouse. So what we're going to do to start with is not even build this or these connections. We're just going to build these guys, but we're going to have them do their own imports to start with, and then that'll change. And what I really want to be able to do, now that I think about it, oh crap, I want to be able to run off of this line into there. Okay, everything's got to move up. It's got to get out of the way a little bit. All right, start over. Want to be able to have a line that comes in and turns off of this, and I'd like to have it an entire, remember our 6-ton rule, I'd like to have it a 6-ton distance. That's 8. That's tight. We're gonna have to extend this a little bit. This intersection here is going to need to move up here so that we have enough space for it. But I definitely don't want the next exit to be less than a full train load distant from that exit. I did the same thing up here. There's 6 tons of steel in there. And when I say 6 tons of steel, if you're not familiar with that, that's our little rule for how we measure distance for our train setups. We make sure we take this guy here, the concrete based, and we measure, and we see the steel production. Right there, 6 tons of steel. That's the length. Here, let's do it this way. 6 tons of steel is the length of the longest train that you can build in the game. So that's what we use as our measuring stick to make sure we've left ample space whenever we're setting up intersections. You want to have that much space between any 2 intersections so that you don't get trains that are stopped hanging out, stopped for one intersection, hanging over into the next intersection. All right, so what we want to be able to do is come off of here and then make sure that we've got enough space so that the train, like up here we go. Up here, I made sure that there was enough space coming off of this so that a train can fit in here without hanging out here and blocking our fuel and bitumen trains. All right, so we want to have the same result here. So I think the best thing for us to do for this is to think about how we're going to do this and the line coming off of it, and then let that determine where we start building our clothing. In other words, I wanted to push it back here as far as I can, but it would be much better to let it go like this one did, up a little ways, and give us that room. All right, hope that made sense. All right. We've got to extend all this. And when you do this, using the style where you're not doing construction management, you've got to make sure you've got the funds to do it right away, because once you start ripping up this track, you're going to screw up your entire economy by not giving, by messing up your existing train lines. So, okay, what we need to do, I want this longer. So let's just move it all the way back here. Let's move it to here. This is going to be the start of this thing right here is moving back here. All right, it's moving back here. And actually maybe not. Let me think about it. Let me come at it a different way. Let's have this guy that has to merge come down and merge right in front of that road like that, so we don't have to rebuild it. So there's one. Then we want this to merge just inside of that. Perfect. Well, that wasn't that hard, was it? And we want a signal here. And we want a signal here and here and there. And we could probably drop those guys for a moment and build that. Okay, so our existing trains should be fine. They basically have the same thing, only move down here a little further. And that should give us the ability to come off of this. There's our 6-ton marker, so we want our exit to come in beyond that. And we got plenty of space. Good deal. And I wish I'd thought ahead and hadn't built my wires out yet. Okay, that works. And that works. You can't cross curves. That's a pain. Okay, that works. A little funky, but it works. Build that. Build the track. Oh, I didn't. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I do not want to build that. Okay. we can make this one a chain signal to chain into this selection here. So he'll look into this block and see if it's clear, and then he'll look into that block to see if it's clear before proceeding, or that block if he's going on down. So that's perfect. And let's give him a little shorter block to look into. There we go. All right, so okay, that's our exit for our clothing. Now we can curve this track a little, and we don't have to, run it out here and waste the space. We can curve it some, and we'll check our 8-ton rule or 6-ton rule on this. But I don't think it's going to be any issue at all. So I would like it more up this way to save this space for anything else we decide we want to do. So let's see if we can't maybe run this track. It doesn't matter if it curves a little coming in there. This is not speed here, and it's not going to be running all the time. It's going to be waiting and loading as much as it runs. So how were we doing that? Our road like that. I would put it almost right where it was. Not that big a change. If we run our track, I think may have to knock down, which won't be a problem because we won't need it. We'll knock down that guy right there. We'll hook back up with that line like so. Get rid of that portion of it. Now we have to look at the 6-ton rule. I wish I'd, well, here, let's measure this. I want to see how much. Now the 6-ton, we only need, there's 3 of it. So we only need about 3. As long as this is 3 tons worth of steel, and it is, we're great. So this can just go in there like crap. That was at 5.6 right there. Okay, so we can put an intersection right here with it with no problem. Beautiful, beautiful. I think I'm babbling a little bit, but you'll see what I mean. Let me build this, and then you'll see what I mean. That's 3. Okay, I'm just wanting to make sure that a large train can go in here, get all the way in here, and get all the way inside that and off this track. But of course it can, even if it. Now, what we can't have it do, it can't hang out past here, this junction, because if it came in like this and happened to hang out over here, when it flipped around, it couldn't go anywhere because it would be facing a one-way track. That's why I'm kind of going through all this. This is the kind of crap y'all don't watch when I come back and just show you what I did. But I sit here and play with this stuff for forever sometimes. I'm slow. All right, so that should be beautiful for giving us a train line for our clothing. And now let's see if we can actually do a clothing industry. Or 2. I really want 2. You know, I think I like them better turned like that. I do. Yeah, I think I like them better like this. And we'll double check this connection, but we don't have to actually make it. That'll work. That'll work, of course. So there, okay, we're good. Okay, they should have fire protection. They do. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I totally take back. We are going to build this, and we are going to build those connections. Just the other side of it to the fabric we're not going to build yet. This we absolutely want. Okay. Now, if we, let's see what the fabric's going to look like. Fabric. And the chemicals. I haven't done much with chemicals yet. Chemicals. Chemicals. Oh boy. Oh, they don't make it easy, do they? Chemicals. It needs gravel, wood, crops, and oil. Gravel, wood. Ugh, I hate. Ugh. I think our chemicals may actually come from somewhere else. I think we're going to set this up with fabric and where's the road? We'll set it up with fabric and I'll move it out here a little bit. Like so, and eventually we'll set up the connection like that, so that'll work. And what I'm trying to do here is set it up so we can put everything's in walking distance to a oh, we need road access here too for fire protection. And to maybe perhaps go buy stuff. We don't know yet. Okay. Now it would be lovely if we could have a small train platform that could be walked to from all three of those factories. That would be lovely. Well, you look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So now we just need to have our line run out here. All right, it's getting a little bit long, so let's shut this one off, and when we come back, we'll deal with getting workers out to the clothing industry. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.